Hello everyone and welcome back to another video from the Ingenious Engineer. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use the input function in Python. As you see here, I have Python open and ready to go. But first of all, let's discuss what input is and why it's used. In one of my previous videos, I talked about how a computer has 3 steps: input, processing, and output. I'll put a link to that video down in the description box below. So the input function in Python is like the input part in those 3 steps. It collects input from the user and processes that to produce an output. To use the input function in Python, you first have to create a variable. I'm going to title mine someone, and then you have to make it equal input and then put parentheses. Now what this will do is it will collect an input from the user. But when you run it, it will say nothing, and so the user won't know what to put. So to make the user know what you want them to enter, you can put a simple print function and say, enter your name. Now they'll know what you want them to enter, and it will say enter your name, and you just put it in. But Python isn't really using your input because you haven't told it to use it. If you want it to use the input to say hello and then the user's name, you can do this. You can do print and then hello, and then go out of the quotation marks, put a comma, and then type someone. The comma is just a space, and it also helps Python separate the quotation marks from the variable so that it doesn't get confused. Now when you run, you can enter your name, and then it will say hello and the name that has been entered. If I put something else, such as that, it will say hello, Harry. There's a much easier way to do this in Python, and it allows you to remove this first line, shortening your code. So you just remove that, and then in this input, in the parentheses over here, you can put enter your name. And what this will do is print enter your name, and then it will ask for an input. So when you run it, it will say enter your name, and you can put your name in. Now as you see, before it was whenever you typed, it would put it around here. But now, whenever you type, it's showing it over here. And when you click enter, it will say hello, Bob. This is better because it is more simple to use and shortens your code, which is really beneficial when you're writing long codes. Now I'm going to give you an example of using the input function in a real-world situation. Say you want to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius, but you don't have a calculator to do that, and you don't want to do the math. So how you're going to use the input function to do that is you're going to create a variable. I'm going to title it F for Fahrenheit, and this is going to equal the degrees in Fahrenheit. And I will put input and enter the temperature in Fahrenheit. Now the user knows that you want them to enter the temperature in Fahrenheit. And if you don't want Python to mess up, I would recommend putting a float in front of the input. And that helps Python recognize that the input does not require to be an integer, which means a whole number. So it means the number inside the input can be a decimal number as well. So next what I'm going to do is create another variable called Celsius. This is going to be the actual calculations. So what I'm going to do is just put the calculation for converting Fahrenheit to Celsius. Now that is the Fahrenheit temperature minus 32, go out of the parentheses, and times 5. And I'm going to put 0.0 so that it does not mess up while dividing it by 9. Now it's going to just plug in F, which is whatever the user enters over here, and calculate. Now, if you want Python to display that, all you have to do is do print and do the temperature in Celsius is, and then you can put a comma and then put C and then comma, and then you can put more quotation marks and put degrees. So this is what it's going to do in order. First, it's going to ask the user to enter the temperature in Fahrenheit. Once it gets that, it's going to plug it into this equation right here and calculate what C is, which is the temperature in Celsius. Then it's going to print the temperature in Celsius, and then print it over here, and then it will show the user. So I'm going to run it and do, how about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and then it will say it's 26.66668 degrees. So I can do a different one and put maybe -40. And here you have proof that it's right, because -40 degrees is the same as -40 degrees Celsius. So that's how you would use it in a real world situation. You can use it for many other things, and it's a really useful thing in games because you have the ability to collect the input that the user enters. And that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe so that you'll be notified when my next video comes out and you'll be one of the first people to watch it. Also, I'll give a special recognition to the first person who comments on my video, so leave a comment down below. Thank you and have a good day.